The banishment of Ishmael from the house of Abraham, is that a model for today or not? I think the answer to that question is yes and no, right? Depends on what we mean. Is this the model? If, right, we go to one of two extremes, the answer, of course, is no, right? What are the two extremes when we look at the banishment of Ishmael? Let me just set the background for you. So in the 21st chapter of Bereshis, right, Paragraph Aleph, so finally, right, we read this. This is, of course, our Rosh Hashanah reading by Hashem Parkalet Sarah Kasher Amar. Right, Hashem comes back and fulfills his promise to Sarah that she's going to have a child. She is pregnant with Yitzchak. Right, that's fabulous news. The kids are growing up, and there is this tension between Yitzchak and Ishmael. The Torah says, "Vateres Sarah." Et ben Hagar HaMitzrit asher yalda la'Avraham mitzachek. Sarah sees the son of the Egyptian Hagar that was born to Abraham mitzachek. Right, and she tells Abraham, "You got to get rid of this guy. Ki lo yirash ben ha'amah hazot im b'ni Yitzchak. He is not going to inherit with my son." Abraham, this is very hard for Abraham, and Hashem comes down and says, "Now you got to throw him out of the house." Now, some people look at this story and say, right, got to throw out the Arabs, right? Ishmael is the progenitor of the Arabs in Jewish thought, right? You got it. Avram came to Sarah and said, throw him out, right? If that's all we take from the story, right, that's not correct. On the other hand, there are people who take Avram to task, right? Avram should never have acquiesced, right? Sarah was wrong. Right, that of course we reject out of hand because HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself comes down and says, you have to listen to Sarah. What's the correct approach? Right, it's to understand what's at stake and what exactly is happening. It's not being thrown out of Eretz Yisrael. Right? We have a concept of a ger toshav. Right, Israel does not have to be non-Jew free. Right? What a ger toshav is somebody who recognizes Jewish leadership and is a moral, decent person. That person is more than welcome in Eretz Yisrael. What is the conflict between, right, Ishmael and Yitzchak? Right? So this clearly relates to the behavior of Ishmael. And when Ishmael behaves in a certain way, he has no place in the house of Abraham. Right? What does it mean, mitzachek? So Rashi says he was involved in idolatry. Right? He was involved in avodah zarah. And that person has no place in the house of Abraham. Right? That person has to go. The Ramban, in an amazing piece, right? The Ramban says that that's not, right, not what mitzachek means. Chas v'shalom, God forbid that there should be in the house of Abraham avodah zarah. Rather, he says, look in the Chumash. Look at what Sarah says. Right? Mitzachek, he reads as kind of being, I wouldn't even say playful, but he says that essentially everyone's excited about Yitzchak, and Yitzchak's going to inherit. Yishmael gets up and he says, wait a minute, I'm the Bechor. I'm Abraham's eldest. I inherit, right? I inherit the tradition of Abraham. I inherit a double portion in the tradition of Abraham. And it is this that Sarah Imenu gets up and says, right? Ki lo yirash ben ha'amah hazot im b'ni Yitzchak. He is not going to inherit with my son Yitzchak. He is not going to, what is it? What are we inheriting? It's not just money. It is the tradition of Abraham. In that he has no place. Right? He's not going to inherit in this land because this land belongs to Abraham through Yitzchak, through Yaakov, etc. Right? The fight is not about idolatry. It's about who the land of Israel rightfully belongs to, who is the rightful heir of Abraham. Right? If that's the lesson we draw from Gerush Ishmael, from the banishment of Ishmael, then it has tremendous ramifications for today because we're having the same argument. Whose land is it? Right? Who does it belong to? Who's the rightful heir? And this story reminds us that we are the rightful heir, right? We are the children of Abraham, and therefore it belongs to us. But lest we forget the lesson of Rashi, right? Rashi says, right, he's banished because he doesn't behave well, right? And that throws the obligation back on us. If we want to be, and we are, the descendants of Abraham, the rightful inheritors of the land of Israel, we better act like Abraham, right? We had better be God-fearing and kind, compassionate, right? We have to model ourselves after Abraham, and in that sense, truly be worthy of being his descendants and holding on to and living in and thriving in Eretz Yisrael. If that's the lesson, yes, it absolutely applies today, and we should take it to heart.